Panel, she's a former advisor to soon-to-be defeated Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, former communications director for Governor Ed Rendell. Penny Lee is here. He is the founder and chairman of the Faith and Freedom Coalition. The one and only Ralph Reed is back, and he is a driving legend who is beginning, get this, his 25th year of NASCAR and is ready to go for his third Daytona 500 victory in a few weeks right here on Fox. Well, actually, Fox broadcast. The two-time Daytona 500 winner, owner of Michael Waltrip Racing. Michael Waltrip, it's an honor to have you. You brought me this, and I can't believe how incredible this is. Your real helmet.
It's the real helmet. I raced in Phoenix this spring and wore this helmet. I wanted to have that. And then a team jersey if you ever want to come be on the Napa crew for Michael Waltrip Racing.
Wait a minute. Can I change the tires?
You can do whatever you like.
I'm probably a little too slow for the guys that really do it.
My brother sends his love, former NASCAR champion Darryl, Daytona 500 winner. This is his favorite show, and he prepped me, gave me all kinds of information about things I should say and not say tonight.
Well, don't worry, because everything Penny says just disagree with, and you're perfectly fine on this panel.
And then just agree with me.
Yeah,
I got my direction.
All right, so we get a preview of these talking points. This is so pathetic. It's ridiculous. The president saying, all during the campaign, well, we can't have a spending freeze. Why take a hatchet when he can use a scalpel? And now he's going to propose a spending freeze. You defend this.
First of all, I just want to let everyone know that I did not give you those talking points. Those were given to you on your own. So I want full disclosure here.
I am not going to disclose my sources.
Okay. Well,
but you do acknowledge you've got them yourself.
I got them myself, but I wanted to disclose that I did not give them to you. This is the first step. I mean, obviously, the president has seen that we need to bring this deficit down, and he has said that repeatedly over and over again, and this is the first step in which we need to do. I think it is a good thing, similar to what he did on the defense budget last year, which was reform the procurement procedure so that we didn't spend it on F-22s.
Penny, I love you. I really do. But wait a minute.
This is the first.
He said he wasn't going to do it. He actually said in this interview, we didn't buy off any votes. He bought off Louisiana. He bought off Nebraska. He bought off his unions that supported him. And he's denying the obvious truth. Do you think that's going to help the party to lie to the American people?
It's not about lying to the American public.
Okay, being dishonest.
It is not being dishonest either.
Not telling the truth. I'm trying.
Again, what he is saying, we were in a fiscal crisis at the beginning of the year, and where they have gotten to, from where they were to where they are now, is full steps.
I really sympathize with you. You have a difficult task. Just ask the president to help you out.
My heart really goes out to Penny, and it's frankly, Sean, it's painful to watch.
It is.
Because you had Barack Obama tell George Stephanopoulos in the first post-Scott Brown victory interview, what swept him into office is what swept me into office.
It is
now, this is a guy who, when he was campaigning for the U.S. Senate in Massachusetts, which had not elected a Republican to the U.S. Senate in 37 years, signed his autograph as if he were Michael Waltrip, 41, meaning I'm the guy who's going to stop health care. And on this spending freeze, this thing is a joke. It only affects 1/8 of the federal budget. It's $250 billion over 10 years when he's piling up $9 trillion in deficit spending. It's a joke.
As just a normal American, I don't see it. I think it's a joke. I think it's a gimmick.
Somebody that wins the Daytona 500 twice is not exactly in that category of normal. But go ahead.
I'm pretty sure that there's several columns that aren't frozen that they're going to spend from. So I don't buy it.
What the thing is I think what they're missing, the Democrats, respectfully, and the president's missing, if you say you're not going to have lobbyists, keep your word. If you're going to put things on C-SPAN, put them on C-SPAN.
If you're going to be transparent, be transparent.
If you're going to be transparent, if you say during the campaign that in fact, we ought not have a spending freeze, don't support a spending freeze. If you say no earmarks, it's like one thing after another. Now, when you meet people, hardworking Americans that are NASCAR fans, do they talk to you about politics?
Yeah, they're uncomfortable with what's going on in our country. And, the Constitution begins with we the people. And I don't think the people have ever spoken any louder than they did in Massachusetts. And I think that will continue. The president talked about change. He needs to step up tomorrow night and say, it is about change. We're going to change the direction we're heading in.
You're one of the best political advisors I know, Ralph. What would you tell the president to do tomorrow night? We know what they're going to do. They focus group. They tested this. They're going to act like nothing's wrong. They're going to double down on health care, apparently. They're going to act like fiscal conservatives. What would you tell them to do?
Well, I don't expect him to do it. But what I would say is, look, what do you owe Reid and Pelosi? Look where your numbers are. Their numbers are even lower than yours. You want to end up where they are? I mean, right now, Harry Reid's job approval in Nevada is in the high 30s.
20% for Pelosi.
Now, if Penny was still there, it'd probably be higher. But the reality is what he needs to do, is what Clinton did in '95. Basically, cut him loose. And if he was really serious about spending, Sean, he wouldn't engage in the smoke and mirrors of a non-free spending freeze. He would say, I want the line item veto, and I want it now, and if you send me a budget with any earmarks, if you send me a budget with a...
He said that on the campaign trail and signed 9,000 of them.
He's got to deliver. I don't expect him to do it, but that's the only way he can turn this around.
You throw us out. We'll continue more with our great, great American panel. And we continue now with our great, great American panel. All right, poll, most Americans applaud the loss of the Democrats' supermajority as we look, all right, good for the country, 70%. 28% say it's bad for the country. How do we interpret that? We need to look at the big picture, Michael. How do you interpret that?
I just think America spoke. They said we don't like what's going on, and we think we can help fix it, and we're going to do it by electing Brown, and that'll continue. If Barack doesn't change the direction our country's going on, it'll continue to where Republicans win all those seats.
You've met the president. How many times have you met the president?
Several. Well, I was with him when he was senator, but as president a couple of times.
Yeah, so you've been in the Oval Office with him?
Not the Oval Office, but the Roosevelt Room in the West Wing.
All right, so you've met the President of the United States.
Yes.
Now, where in his life, his background, has he ever shown any inclination to do what Ralph Reed said? And that's follow the Clinton model, the country's spoken, I'm going to move to the center, the era of big government's over, the end of welfare as we know it. Does he have any of that?
I think what you're going to see tomorrow night might surprise you. I think and what he's going to go back to is what you heard on the campaign, which was a uniter. And it was a campaign about
but those were words, and he did just the opposite. So words don't mean anything anymore from him.
I think what you'll see is a different reset, and what you're starting to see now is kind of those programs put into place. But one of the things
we think
we need to take away from Massachusetts also is that it was post-partisan. It wasn't about. He did not run as a Republican. If you look at that poll,
the 41st vote against
if you look at that poll, they said we want him to go back to Washington to work with Democrats.
Nice try.
Nice try.
But if you look at Penny, if you look at the same CNN poll that Sean just threw up, okay, where 70% of the country says, good, we're glad that the Democrats don't control both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue the way they did before Massachusetts. The same poll, Sean, shows that the Democrats, who had a 16-point advantage on who had a more favorable view among the American people as a party, it's now shrunk to 46D, 44R. Here's what it boils down to. They got two problems, one foreign, the other domestic. They don't like their domestic policies, and in foreign policy,
that's a great point.
There's slow-walking sanctions on Iran. They didn't respond adequately to the Christmas bomber.
I'm going to tell you what I think the American people have responded to the most, especially leading into this election. The first thing is they don't like their senators being bribed with their money.
Right.
They don't like unions. People that voted for Obama, they don't pay taxes. The rest of us pay taxes. They got a special exemption. They didn't like that. They didn't like the idea. We now learned that the Christmas Day bomber, was interrogated for only 50 minutes, and then he gets to Miranda up, and he had said in that 50-minute period of time, others are coming, and he knew who they were. That is madness to me. He is making this country vulnerable and susceptible and putting Americans in jeopardy. Do you think those are the main issues?
Exactly, and it's not acceptable, and America's not going to put up with it. We're going to step up and say this can't continue.
Well, James Carville, who I don't often agree with, actually said something. He said, look, this president doesn't have a coherent strategy. The only thing he seems to show is his rigid ideology. Well, where has he shown moderation? Forget the words and speeches. Give me an example where he's been moderate.
I think on his policy in Afghanistan, one of the very first acts he did was put more troops there because he knew. All
right. It wasn't a horrible decision keeping Gates and on Afghanistan. Yes. Where is he showing moderation?
Try KSM in New York City.
Nuts.
To not force Iran's hand on the nuclear weapons program with tough sanctions. And by the way, Sean, it's not just that they Mirandized the Christmas Day bomber. It's that Robert Mueller, the director of the FBI, has testified before Congress that they don't even have an enhanced interrogation team for
That's right, which they were supposed to replace the enhanced interrogations.
It doesn't even exist in the entire U.S. government.
Yeah. No, I will tell you, I think you're in for the shock of your life. do words matter anymore, or words become ineffective? Hang on, words, Michael, become ineffective from this president. In other words, he's broken so many promises that people don't believe him anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's what tomorrow night's all about. I don't want to hear more slick words about a spending freeze when I believe that maybe that's not actually what's going to happen. I don't want to hear what they propose. I want to hear action, and I want to see a different direction for our country.
You actually wore this in the race?
Yeah, in Phoenix.
I don't know if this is going to fit.
Yeah, you're going to love it. That's the safest you're ever going to feel right there.
You like that?
And I will tell you, that's probably the most comfortable Penny's ever been with you.
Oh, I've never felt more comfortable
not being able to get any words
in my life.
Keep it on.
I think my hair never looked better either. Well, I am honored to have this. Now I don't have a talking piece. This is, by the way, what you put in your ear when you're doing a TV show. So that's gone. But I want to thank you for that. That's awesome. And all the best to you, brother. And